Shalom Aleichem. Welcome to our penultimate day of Bava Batra here in Mishnah Yomi land. We are in chapter 10, Mishnayot 5 and 6 today. Misha para miktzat hovo. Somebody borrowed money and they were poreya, they paid back miktzat, some of the debt of hovo. The hishlish et staro. But they gave the shtar, the lender and the borrower agreed to give over the document for the loan to a shlish, to a third party. So this third party is going to hold the loan document until the lender actually pays the remainder of the loan. V'amar lo, and the borrower tells him, Im lo natati loch, if I don't pay up the loan, mikan v'ad yom ploni, from now until a certain date, ten lo shtaro, give the lender back the shtar, and he can use the whole shtar to collect with. They haven't written any receipts or anything like that. We're going to see in Mishnah Vav, that's an option. Now, higia zman, the date arrives, velo natan, and surprise, the borrower did not pay back. So now the third party could, in theory, according to what the borrower said, give back the loan document to the lender, who could collect the entire amount. Rabbi Yossi Omer Yiten. Rabbi Yossi says, yes, he could go ahead and do that. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Lo Yiten. Rabbi Yehuda says the shlish, the third party, cannot do that, because now the lender will use the entire document to pull back the entire amount of the loan from the borrower, even though the borrower's already paid some of it. So what is the real machlokes here is asmachta. Now, asmachta basically means you're saying something and you really don't think it's going to happen. So in this particular case, the borrower is really, really, really sure he's going to be able to pay by that date. That's why he's promised that date and given himself this penalty if he doesn't. But this asmachta is because he really believed in himself, and then there's some kind of onus, and he really can't follow through with it. So is asmachta konya? When someone makes such a statement, sort of promising something in the future that they really think they can do, and then nebuch, now they can't do it. So is that a kinyan? Is that a valid legal transaction or not? That's really what the machloket is. Now, an interesting note here is in the Batra, in the Parish here, he says, the halacha, le'inyan halacha, asmachta lo kanya. You've probably seen this in Shas before, asmachta lo kanya. It's not a valid promise that we can hold him to. Ela imken, we can only make it valid, kanu miyadu bebeit din chashuv. They did a kinyan, like an act of kinyan, of legal transaction in a beit din, not just any beit din, but a beit din chashuv, an important beit din. And he adds, they gave over the loan document to that particular court, and the court is going to basically collect if he does not fulfill with the promise, because he's making this promise in a beit din hashuv, a very important court. Then he is mishabed, he is putting himself on the hook, even though in normal situations outside of court, it would just simply be an asmachta. And it's interesting, the Batra ends at the end of this parish. He says, Rabotai mefarshi, my own rabbis explained, Shekol beit din shebakiin v'yodim b'dinei asmachta, any court that knows and is expert in the rules of asmachta, nikraim beit din chashuv l'inyan zeh, counts as an important beit din. Aval Rambam Omer, shein beit din chashuv, he says, Rambam says there's no important court, ela beit din hasamuch be'eretz Yisrael, only a court where the judges have smicha inside Eretz Yisrael. Now, Mishnah Vav, Misha Nimchak Shtar Chovo. Someone was holding a loan document and it got erased, or it's starting to fade, it's getting smudged. Me'idim olav edim. He can bring witnesses who can testify to the original contents of that document. Obalifnei beit din, and they'll come in front of a court with what's left of this document and the witnesses. Va'osin lokiyam, and the judges of the court, they will examine the document and the witnesses, make sure that they know what's going on, and they will write up a kiyum, a way to establish this, like a backup for the shtar. Ish Ploni ben Ploni, this certain man, Nimchak Shtaro, Biyom Ploni, his shtar got erased or faded on this day, Ploni beploni Edav, and these are the witnesses. Now the Mishnah turns to another case, just like Mishnah Hey, Misha Par Miktat Chovo, someone paid part of his debt. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Yachalif. Rabbi Yehuda says they should switch out the shtar. They should rip up the old original document for the full amount and write a new document for the amount that's still outstanding. Rabbi Yossi Omer Yechtov Sho. Rabbi Yossi says, no, you don't need a new loan document. You just write a receipt for the lender who's paid back a certain amount, saying that on such and such a date, he paid such and such amount. Rabbi Yehuda says, but then the borrower has to guard this receipt. This receipt could be worth $5,000, $10,000. He has to guard it from the mice. He has to make sure it doesn't get lost. Amar lo Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi responds to this objection. Koch yafelo. It's better that way. Velo yura kocho shazeh. So we do not impair the ability of the lender to collect the loan. Now, if we're writing the lender a brand new loan document, that says part of it's paid and this is outstanding, so what's the problem? Well, really, we can only write a loan document with today's date on it. So if somebody borrowed money and they can't pay it back, then the lender can go after the property that they owned at the time of the loan. So the original loan document might have been made months or years ago, so he might have had more properties then that the borrower has since sold by the time you write the replacement loan document for the new amount. So Rabbi Yossi's logic is it's better to have the borrower hold on to the receipt than to impair the collection ability of the lender. We do want to encourage people to lend money and help the economy grow and give people opportunities to build themselves and their families and their businesses. Shar kochachem tizku lemitzvot.